This video is sponsored by Readly, of whom more in a bit. This is the first in what I hope will be a series on the subject of weird train services in London that you can't get anymore. Now I know that probably sounds boring as heck, so let me clarify. I don't mean like there used to be a train at 8:40 but now it's at 8:30. I mean train services that went to and from places that these days are not remotely linked, journeys that it's just not possible to do now. And then I'm gonna try and do them anyway, because I'm weird like that. A lot of these services are quite interesting for a lot of reasons. They take routes that no longer exist, they involve trains covering territory that they wouldn't normally cover, and in some cases they have you thinking, well, hold on, that would be pretty useful to have now, wouldn't it? Today we're doing Liverpool Street to Addiscombe. Liverpool Street is a major station on the eastern edge of the City of London, serving East Anglia and the northeastern suburbs of London. And Addiscombe is in the southeast of London, and the station doesn't exist anymore. The service ran from 1880 to 1884 and was operated by the South Eastern Railway. What was absolutely key to the service was the East London Railway, a short line running between New Cross and Shoreditch. That railway was so useful that 6 companies had shares in it in exchange for the right to run over it. The South Eastern was just one of them. 2 of their rivals, the London Chatham and Dover Railway and the London Brighton and South Coast Railway, also put in. The Great Eastern Railway, which owned Liverpool Street, got involved. And the final contributors were the Metropolitan Railway and the District Railway, underground lines. The East London line was opened in 1869 and an extension to Liverpool Street was opened in 1876. We're starting today's journey at Liverpool Street. Now, that's kind of unfortunate because the line from Liverpool Street that the train took no longer exists. What happened was that in 1913 the East London line was electrified, but only from New Cross to Shoreditch. The Underground took over operations, and the Great Eastern Railway were, frankly, happy to lose a few trains from their already overcrowded station, particularly trains belonging to another company. The section of track between Liverpool Street and Shoreditch was mostly used for freight until it was pulled up in 1966. In the 80s, London Transport looked into reinstating the line, but nothing came of it. Worse luck for me. I've got a bit of a walk before I can join the East London line. Now, I'll admit I'm not taking the most direct route, I just like walking through Spitalfields. Here, in this alley just off Brick Lane, we come to an abandoned station. This used to be Shoreditch Station. This was the northern terminus of the East London line. Now, a lot of you will remember when the East London line was part of the Underground. In those days it was a real oddity. It was separate from the rest of the Underground, although nominally it was part of the Metropolitan line for a long time. It was quite short and it didn't go into central London. Consequently, it didn't have that many passengers. Alongside the station you can see the reason for its final demise. Walk with me as we discuss. In the 80s, at the same time as London Transport were looking into reinstating the Liverpool Street connection, they were also looking at other extensions to the line. These ideas were mulled over, considered, proposed, rejected, and eventually they came to fruition in the 21st century, as what we would now call the Overground. This would connect the East London line with an abandoned stretch of the old North London Railway at Shoreditch, and with the South London line at its, southern end. To make that connection, Shoreditch Station would have to be sacrificed and replaced with a new elevated station named Shoreditch High Street. The old station closed in 2006 and the new one would open in 2010. Whitechapel is the first of the original stations on this route that I can actually use. It's covered in scaffolding at the moment, but normally it looks more like this. It's served not only by the Overground's East London line, which is soon to be named the Windrush line, but by the Underground District line and the Elizabeth line. Perhaps the most famous bit of trivia about Whitechapel Station is that the Overground passes under the Underground here. There's quite a bit There's quite a bit of waiting on this journey, I'm not going to lie, so that's why I'm glad to be sponsored once again by Readly. Readly is a magazine and newspaper app that gives you access to an enormous amount of reading matter from a single device. I use it on my phone so I don't have to lug around anything extra when I go travelling, although it also works on laptops, tablets, whatever you need. They have literally thousands of titles on all sorts of subjects, all for a single, very affordable monthly subscription. All my favourite railway magazines are on there, so I'm saving a fortune every month. Not to mention space in the recycling bin. The app not only gives you access to current issues, but back issues as well. I often find myself consulting old magazines for articles when I'm researching my videos, and now I don't end up with a room full of old paper. You can download issues to read offline, so no losing your place when you go through a tunnel. It's pretty great all around, but if you need a bit more persuading to give it a go, they're offering an exclusive deal for viewers of this channel. Visit the link in the description below to get 2 months free, for even better value. And while I was telling you all that, my train's arrived. There's a lot more travelling to do, but I'm certainly not going to be bored. Between Wapping and Rotherhithe, we run through the reason the East London line was so popular with railway companies: the tunnel under the Thames. This was constructed to the design of Mark Brunel and was originally intended as a road tunnel, but it went horrendously over budget and over time. It was started in 1825 and finished in 1843. By that time, the owners had decided to cut their losses and run it as a pedestrian subway. They sold up in 1865 to the East London Railway, and that's how we ended up here today. At New Cross these days, the Overground terminates, but originally the train would have gone straight through. Here things got tricky thanks to engineering works. The TfL Go app recommended that I take the bus, but there was no bus showing up on the indicator for over half an hour. So I took a stroll down the hill from New Cross to Deptford Bridge. I sometimes think I'd like to do a video about Deptford Bridge, and I don't know why. Anyway, I took a short trip on the DLR from there to Lewisham. At Lewisham there were no trains, so I had to get the bus to Ladywell. Ladywell is a very southeastern railway looking station. I mean, look at that footbridge. I see there's a hospital here, so a lady really can get well, but no time for that. We're getting on a train to Elmer's End. And at Elmer's End, we're going to have to change again. Now, the railway line we would have taken here has technically closed down, but it is still possible to cover the next leg of our route by rail. The line from Elmer's End is now part of the South London tram network, or Croydon Tramlink as we used to say. We'll be taking the tram to Black Horse Road. This line was built as a way for the South Eastern Railway to get at the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway, who were, you may recall, the South Eastern's rivals. The idea was that it would run through Croydon and all the way to Redhill, areas that the LBSC considered to be their territory. The LBSC weren't going to take this lying down and complained to Parliament, and the concept was blocked. So the South Eastern could only get as far as Addiscombe, which wasn't much use to them at all. They did sort of cheat. When they opened Addiscombe Station in 1864, they called it Croydon Addiscombe Road, to imply that it served Croydon, even though it's about half a mile from the town centre. The line was never super popular. For the last leg of the journey, we have to leave the tram at Black Horse Lane, and that's because, once again, the track has been pulled up. The old track bed is now what I believe they call a linear park, so we're walking again. I've actually done this walk before in another video, but it was sunny then, so I guess here's the same thing on a cloudy day. So a quick recap of what happened here. See, in 1885 another not very popular line opened from Woodside to Selsdon Road, and this was jointly operated by the South Eastern and the LBSC, who had evidently decided that if you couldn't beat 'em, join 'em. But this line was even less popular than the Addiscombe line and closed in 1983. When the Tramlink was planned, they decided to incorporate the line from Elmer's End into it, but to use the Selsdon Road line because it offered an easier connection to Croydon town centre. So, the short section from the junction at what's now Black Horse Lane to Addiscombe was to be cut off, and it closed in 1997. There is a tram stop called Addiscombe, but it's a bit of a hike from here. These days, the site of Addiscombe has long since been built over, but this wall was originally part of the old station. That there block of flats is on the site of the old station entrance, and the sun's finally come up at the end of my journey. As I say, the Liverpool Street to Addiscombe service lasted only 4 years. The Metropolitan Railway began running their own passenger service over the East London line in 1884, and the South Eastern decided to withdraw. During the 4 years it ran, the service was not infrequent, about once an hour. The journey took, according to the timetable, 52 minutes, which is not bad at all. I didn't time how long it took me, but, well, a heck of a lot longer than 52 minutes. Not to mention all the hassle of changing from overground to DLR to bus to train to tram to foot. I'm sure there are easier ways of getting to Addiscombe. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please do leave a like, and perhaps you might like to subscribe for more. Would you use this service if it still ran? Do you think it would have potential today? Let me know what you think in the comments. I would like, as I always do, to thank my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon and here on YouTube for your support. You are the extra track to my East London line. I would also like to thank Readly for sponsoring today's video. Click on the link in the description below to take advantage of their generous offer. And I'll see you all again very soon. Cheerio.